Now I'm going to use the 2008 housing crisis, bubble, whatever you want to call it, to use as reference. Obviously, I could use other things like the pandemic or the 2001 tech bubble, but I've studied that a lot. I think it's a great case study for all of this, and probably a lot further away from when you're listening to this, and we can analyze it more objectively. Now, when that happened, we had massive amounts of debts that couldn't get paid back. We had crashes in stock markets. People needed cash. There was a big crunch for cash at that point. And that's why it's another just textbook study of what happened. People needed cash and they couldn't get cash. Whereas with the pandemic, there's too much cash and inflation going around everywhere. And so with our 2008 financial crisis, anytime the Federal Reserve does something to alleviate the pain of this or try to make the situation better, that is monetary policy. So this could get tricky on the exam, right? They say, oh, the federal government does monetary policy. No, the federal government does fiscal policy. So when the federal government, what do they have control over? Taxation, government spending, giving you stimulus checks. The Fed has control over interest rates and the money supply, right? Printing money. Now, the Fed is supposedly independent of politics, and the federal government is highly political. Now, again, this is in theory. I mean, I don't know the underworkings of our government. I don't know how much is it really influenced, but this is all textbook. This is what they have control over, and both can help the economy and hinder the economy. Now, you might be thinking, well, why don't we just set interest rates to zero and print money and all that? Well, I mean, that's like eating too much cake, right? You're going to have a bad sugar crash or a bad hangover with all of that. The party will end at some point. Now, you want to increase interest rates so that which makes it more expensive to borrow, which decreases the money supply, and we'll get all into that in the specifics. I'm just giving you a prelude. We want to do that so that when there is a financial crisis, you can lower the interest rates and people can generate money. Now, I mean, think of recessions and all that. Think of it like an earthquake, right? They're just going to happen. They're inevitable. Happen about every 10 years. And these are the tools, right? These are the monetary and fiscal policy tools to reduce their impacts. Now, like, you can't always have good times. That's just how our system is set up. But these tools by the federal government and Federal Reserve banking system help to alleviate the pains. Now, the Fed maintains price stability, full employment, economic growth. This is their goal. This is what they strive to do. The federal government strives to change aggregate demand, minimize recessions. Now, what can they do? Let's say inflation is really high. That means there's too much money out there. The federal government can raise taxes, which decreases the money supply, puts more money in the government's hands, and the government can lock that up and put that money into a big vault and burn it. Now, in theory, that's what they should do. In reality, they probably take that money and spend it on other things. But anyway, government spending, think of this like artificial consumer spending. If I am not spending money, it's 2008 because all of a sudden, my 401k went to, very low numbers and I got fired and laid off. I'm not spending money. And I'm not spending money, then, this is me, right? I can't spend money. Then the businesses aren't getting my money, and obviously this isn't just me. This is me times millions of people. But I'm not spending money, so that's cut off. Businesses aren't getting my money, and then businesses can't go and pay employees, right? It's a vicious cycle. I mean, I guess you could make it a circle. That's the business. So what the government does is the government steps in and basically acts like an artificial spender. The government says, okay, this money supply is cut off, so we're gonna do government spending, and the government is gonna start buying items from businesses, right? Now, in reality, the government could also give the money to the individual, and then the individual has a new stream of income to spend on businesses. That's unemployment, all of that. I'm just talking around, right? I'm just talking around, just kind of giving you a nice introduction. Definitely take a look at this, memorize this, understand it. But I want to just talk around this concept and make sure you're getting a full, holistic view what's going on here. Government spending, right? They can spend money, stimulate the economy. Let's dive into, and I gotta say, my pride and joy, I built this out, took together from all the multiple choice questions I've ever seen. I'll just show you. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material. We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.